A buddy of mine told me I should buy Bitcoin. Unfortunately, that friend of mine had given me the worst financial advice of my life.
This is the last time I've ever stated my opinion.
It was always a hot dumpster fire.
It's a super risky asset.
There's never been anything there.
My personal advice was you don't get involved.
Welcome to Bitcoin Reactions. My name is Dan, and Bitcoin is pumping right now. We just hit fresh all-time highs, and it looks like we're finally at the beginning of the bull market that we've all been waiting for. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna give you my list of the worst Bitcoin takes from this past bear market.
Awesome.
So let's start off with an honorable mention. This bad Bitcoin take is from the president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde.
My very humble assessment is that it is worth nothing. It's based on nothing. There is no underlying assets to act as an anchor of safety. If the day when we have the central bank digital currency out, any digital euro, I will guarantee. So the central bank will be behind it.
Wow, that was a bad take for so many reasons. First, she calls Bitcoin super risky and says that you should be prepared to lose everything you put into it. At this point, in 2024, that's just no longer true. Maybe that might have been true in 2013, but today, Bitcoin has been hugely de-risked, especially if you're planning on holding it for a long period of time. Now, that's not to say that there is no risk with Bitcoin. Obviously, there's risk with any investment, but if you understand Bitcoin, you understand that the risk is absolutely minimal. It's much lower than traditional stocks or real estate. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that would disagree with that statement.
But those people also don't understand Bitcoin.
And then she criticizes Bitcoin, saying that there are no underlying assets there. Christine, Bitcoin is the underlying asset of value in the same way that gold used to be the underlying asset of value for the dollar and for the franc. Tell me again, what's the underlying asset of the euro?
Nothing.
And then she says that she'll personally back the new central bank digital euro. What does that even mean? Think about how much value the euro has lost since Christine has been in power. Overall, terrible take and very worthy of an honorable mention on this list. Next up, with the third worst Bitcoin take in this past bear market, is actor turned economist and former star of the OC, Ben McKenzie, for saying that the worst financial advice he's ever received is a friend telling him to buy Bitcoin. Let's check it out.
A buddy of mine told me I should buy Bitcoin. Unfortunately, that friend of mine had given me the worst financial advice of my life.
And you lost how much?
Oh, I know. I hate to disappoint the bros. I was a little early, and I
Right.
did lose initially, but then I doubled down, which you should never do. And I actually did okay.
You did okay.
Yeah. Cryptocurrency, the market, closely resembles a Ponzi scheme or multi-level marketing scheme.
How much of your issue is around Bitcoin versus the other currencies?
At least with Bitcoin, theoretically, the number is limited, right? There are only 21 million Bitcoin that can ever be mined. Bitcoiners usually make a conflation there. They confuse limited supply with scarcity. Those are not the same things, as anyone with a degree in economics knows. Scarcity only occurs when demand exceeds supply at the price of zero. So something can be limited in supply and scarce because there's demand for it, or it can be limited in supply but not scarce.
Where do you think it's going?
Story. I can't predict the future any more than anyone else, but I would say this.
You think it's going lower?
Yes.
Okay, wow. First, I love how he starts this off by saying that the worst financial advice he's ever received is a friend telling him to buy Bitcoin. And right after that, he says not only did he buy some, but he actually made some money with it. Newsflash, if you made money with something, then it's probably not the worst financial decision of all time. Yeah! Second, he calls Bitcoin a Ponzi. People love to call Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme. And whenever somebody says that, what they're really saying is that they either don't understand Bitcoin or they don't understand a Ponzi scheme. Probably both. In Ponzi schemes, investors give their money to somebody else, the scammer, to invest for them. Then the scammer takes that money and steals it for themselves. And the scammer has to keep on doing this, constantly finding new people to steal from. So when early investors want to withdraw some of their money, the scammer can pay them out and the con can keep going. And the key thing here is with Ponzi's, the investors, they think that their money is being used to invest in legitimate things like stocks or real estate. But in reality, their money is all being funneled to the Ponzi schemer. Bitcoin is the opposite. When you buy Bitcoin, you are literally buying an asset. This is very similar to if you were going to buy a gold bar. Now, there's no guarantee that the Bitcoin will go up or down in value. And yes, Bitcoin has been going up at a fast rate, but that just shows that it's a good investment.
Not a Ponzi scheme.
I always get so confused when people want to call Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme when it's just categorically not. Like, please, just come up with a better argument. And the third terrible thing about this take is when he talks about supply and demand.
Bitcoiners usually make a conflation there. They confuse limited supply with scarcity. Those are not the same things, as anyone with a degree in economics knows. Scarcity only occurs when demand exceeds supply at the price of zero.
First, he slightly misspoke. He should have said that scarcity only exists when demand exceeds supply even at the price of zero, but that's besides the point. The core issue here is that with Bitcoin, the demand far exceeds the supply. There is a ton of demand for Bitcoin, and there is a very limited, very finite supply of it. Again, there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and the demand has been growing exponentially. And this makes Bitcoin, by definition, a scarce asset. So he's just categorically wrong here. Overall, that was a terrible take, but our next take was even worse. The second worst Bitcoin take during this past bear market goes to, drum roll please, the CEO of Chase Bank, Jamie Dimon, for saying that Satoshi will come back and delete all the Bitcoin. Let's check it out right now.
This is the last time I've ever talked about this in CNBC, okay? So help me God. Blockchain is real. It's a technology. Cryptocurrencies, there are two types. There's a cryptocurrency which might actually do something. And then there's one which does nothing. I call it the pet rock, the Bitcoin or something like that.
Gold really didn't do anything either.
Yeah, but gold's limited in supply.
So is Bitcoin.
And it's been used. So you think so, huh?
I do.
I think there's a good chance that when we get to that 20 million Bitcoins,
they go to 42.
No, that Satoshi's going to come on there, laugh hysterically, go quiet, all Bitcoin's going to be erased.
I think, man.
How the hell do you know it's going to stop at 21? I've never met one person who told me they know for a fact. My personal advice is don't get involved.
Wow, that was cringeworthy. Okay, so there's so many things wrong in this statement, it's hard to even know where to start. But let's try anyways. First, if you think that blockchain is a true innovation behind Bitcoin, then that means that you don't understand either. Calling blockchain the core innovation behind Bitcoin is similar to calling pressurized cabins the core innovation behind commercial air travel. Yeah, they might be important, but by themselves, they don't do anything that special. Bitcoin combines a lot of very specific technologies, like a proof-of-work consensus algorithm, public-private key cryptography, distributed network systems, advanced hashing techniques, and yes, blockchains, all to make something that is truly revolutionary. Blockchains by themselves are kind of useless. And the second thing that's even more ridiculous is that Jamie thinks that Satoshi is going to come out and change things once the final Bitcoin has been mined. And this is just absolutely ridiculous for so many reasons. First, the last Bitcoin won't be mined until the year 2140. That's in over 115 years. So by that time, everyone alive right now will just be dead. Remember, Bitcoin is open source and decentralized. This means that even if Satoshi were to somehow survive for the next 115 years and come back once the final Bitcoin has been mined, he wouldn't have any control over the Bitcoin network. With Bitcoin, nobody has control, even Satoshi. So for those reasons, this statement is just plain wrong. But more importantly, Jamie seems confused and doesn't understand how we know that Bitcoin will stop at 21 million units. Well, Jamie, I'm going to explain it to you. Here is the exact section of Bitcoin source code that shows how we get to the limit of 21 million Bitcoins. Basically, every 10 minutes, a new block is created, and each new block rewards a certain amount of new Bitcoin to the miner. This new Bitcoin is also called a block subsidy. When Bitcoin started in 2009, the block subsidy was 50 Bitcoin per block. And here we see that every 210,000 blocks, the subsidy cuts in half. This event is also known as a halving. Most recently, on April 19th, 2024, we just had the fourth halving, and that made the current block reward exactly 3.25 Bitcoin. And through that process and this calculation, we can extrapolate out that the last Bitcoin will be mined in the year 2140. So, Jamie, you wondered how we know? Well, there's your answer. Now that that take has been thoroughly rebuked, let's get to the number one worst take of this past Bitcoin bear market.
Can you guess who said it?
If you guessed Peter Zeihan, then you were right. So, without further ado, here it is. The absolute worst take of this past bear market. A clip of Peter Zeihan on the Joe Rogan show saying that the price of Bitcoin will go negative.
Crypto.
Yeah, it was always a hot dumpster fire.
Always?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that it was all fraud. Some of it was a pyramid scheme. There's never been anything there. It serves no purpose. It's not a store of value. It's not a medium of exchange. And as we have seen, if you want it decentralized and not under government control, it is a haven for fraudsters. And now it is in the process of going to zero, except for Bitcoin, which will probably go negative. Yeah, I mean, just there's no intrinsic value to this asset. And now it's starting to be priced appropriately. So it has what's Bitcoin at? 16,000? It has another 17,000 to go down.
Duh. Really?
Yeah, there's no intrinsic value to this product. I mean, one of the craziest things about Bitcoin is that there will never be more than X number of units of Bitcoin. Well, by default, that means it can't be used for trade.
So because of the lack of Bitcoin, because there's a certain controlled number, the only thing that can happen is Bitcoin becomes more expensive.
Right.
Wow, that was a terrible take. There is so much to say here. And the timing of this take was so bad too. He said this literally at the very bottom of the bear market when Bitcoin was only worth $16,000. Bitcoin has literally only gone up in price since this quote. But let's just start with the basics of why he's wrong. First, he says that Bitcoin will go negative. And I can 100% guarantee you that regardless of whatever happens, the price of Bitcoin will never go negative.
I guarantee it.
Even if every single worst case scenario happened all at once and Bitcoin somehow got destroyed, which in and of itself is essentially impossible. But for the sake of argument, let's just say it did, then the price of Bitcoin would only be zero. It cannot go less than that. It is impossible. This is the same for gold, stocks, or any other asset. So in this sense, that statement is just categorically false. And next, Peter says that Bitcoin is not a store of value and that it's not a medium of exchange. And this is also categorically false. The price of Bitcoin has only been going up since it started 15 years ago. It's outperformed literally every other asset on the planet. So basically, that just shows that Bitcoin is a store of value, full stop. And in terms of being a medium of exchange, he's also very wrong. Bitcoin is literally legal tender in El Salvador. And people have been using it as a medium of exchange since the Silk Road in 2011. So he's just factually wrong here too. But the thing that I really want to comment on, let's play it again really quick.
So because of the lack of Bitcoin, because there's a certain controlled number, the only thing that can happen is Bitcoin becomes more expensive.
Right.
Wow. So Joe Rogan says that because there's a lack of Bitcoin, the price of it can only go up. And Peter says, right. Dude, come on, man. You just spent the last few minutes talking about how Bitcoin was going negative, and now, through your own logic, you say that the price of Bitcoin can only go up? It's like, have you thought through your logic at all?
Absolutely not.
That is easily one of the best Bitcoin quotes of all time, so thank you, Joe Rogan, for setting it up. That was amazing. And Peter, if nothing else, thanks for the entertainment here. The good news for you is that the Bitcoin price is still going up. So if you see the error in your logic, you can still hop on the Bitcoin train before it's too late. The price is still gonna go up a lot from here. Overall, that was absolutely fantastic watching these clips. I wanna know, what did you think of my list? Would your list look the same as mine? Or do you think that there's one I missed? Let me know by dropping a comment down below. And overall, thanks so much for watching, guys. I love making these videos. So if you want me to keep on making these videos for you, give my channel a like and subscribe. It really helps out so much. That's it for today. I'll see you guys for the next one. I'm out.